set up. Testing. Testing. That works. Excuse my coughs. It's one of those days I get on streaming and suddenly I'm allergic. And if you hear weird scratching in the background, that's our special little cat inside a donut. Okay, we'll get going here in a minute. Okay, live chat for a second. Okay, share to Facebook. If y'all are coming in on YouTube and watching this as an after thing, like a lot of y'all do, you see the 1 hour 52-minute timer up there. That's how long until the event. You can fast forward to that. You don't watch the whole stream. It's like the most thing I do on my Blue Sky, honestly, is share this. I don't use it enough. Hmm. Blue Sky's share feature is still broken. Or at least YouTube's share feature. Blue Sky is broken. Yeah. Okay. Welcome to you, Fortnite with Sephiroth TX. Make sure I'm caught up. My chat is on. Well, actually, we won't be looking at the live chat because y'all had requested something from me on Blue Sky the other day, and we'll be doing that as well. But this is the finale of Chapter 6 in about 1 hour 50 minutes, give or take. We'll be going into whatever the event is. I don't know if the event is related to the demons they've been fighting all season, or if it's going to be solely related to the Simpson mini season we're having come up. They haven't told us anything. Well, it does say Simpsons mini event right there now, so apparently it's Simpsons. So it's not the demon storyline we'll be doing today. Simpsons welcome our alien overlords. So I'm assuming that at the end of the Simpsons mini season, we may get something to do with the demons we've been dealing with all season, or like last chapter, our move on to a next island will have absolutely nothing to do with the storyline. It's semi-finished anyway. Um, Still leaves the 0 point inside the demon realm, so don't know anything about that. Again, I am a small time writer, so if y'all are looking to support me instead of donating to anything like y'all usually do with streamers, go on to Barnes and Nobles, Amazon, or anywhere you read ebooks and look up my name, Joshua Winters, and feel free to read and leave not replies, shoot. Leave star ratings, those things. Yeah. Someone's burning fire outside. Between that and my allergies, I'm gonna be coughing this entire stream. Okay, so we have two things we're going to do today. We're just going to get in and play until the thing, but I'd also gotten a small request from a few people about going over the entire storyline of Fortnite, which I know we used to do that with some of the locker loadouts back when I had more time to play Fortnite online and stuff like that. I did find a website that pretty much goes over the entire thing, so I didn't have to gather it. Just it's in the Fortnite wiki. We'll go through. I say a section at a time, or if it's a small section at a time. No, this is section at a time. Let's see what you got here. We got. Yeah, we got some stuff here. So we'll do some. What we're going to do is we're going to do the pre. Oh wait, here we go. There's the actual timeline. We're going to do the pre-chapter 1 part here. It goes over anything that happened prior to chapter 1, and then we'll go in and play. We're going to be running mostly as the grabber today. The reason is we don't have a Stephen King skin inside Fortnite yet. Don't know what they're taking on. But his son Joe Hill has a skin in here as the grabber. So Joe Hill got a Fortnite skin before his incredibly famous father did. So according to this, before chapter 1, in the beginning there was nothing. The nothing. The entity we know as an enemy from chapter 3 that released the chrome on the island alongside its herald was the nothing. It existed before everything else. Within the nothing, the Big Bang happened. As the Big Bang created all different types of realities, it left behind what was known as the 0 point in reality zero. The well, some advertisements here trying to push me around the page. Reality zero was the center of all reality, and the same with the 0 point was the center connected to every single reality. If you're able to dial the 0 point, you can go to any reality that exists. Regular reality, video games reality, DC, MCU. That's their excuse for having every single IP in this game. Then sometime, but an unknown time before the game, the last reality is formed. The last reality is a empire of different species of aliens, mostly populated by cube-shaped machine creatures that have giant UFOs. We know them from the Cube events, mostly Kevin the Cube, and then the Cube invasion of Chapter 3. Their goal is to end all realities aside for one and keep that reality as their own. Hi, Mello. Good morning. The Black Cat's here to hang out with us. You're pretty. Sometime around that time, the creature known as the Origin becomes a Cube King. We don't know if he originally had Cube powers or if he's given Cube powers when he joins the last reality, but he has Cube powers like the Cube Queen. Around this time, Human Bill, the alien that is in Fortnite, and I do have a copy of, invents what's known as the mothership for the last reality. And it utilizes the machine cubes as a type of fuel. The cubes then create the Chalice Cube Catastrophe, a relatively small in storyline weapon that we saw in chapter 4 during, I want to say, the collapse, way after all the cube stuff happened and way after we saw the last reality bit of last reality. But apparently the cube catastrophe is massive weapon in the shape of a chalice that could destroy the entire island or an entire planet that it's on. Again, sorry about the coughing. It's nothing I can help. At that time, the woman that would be known as the Herald in the future makes a name for herself in the quiet places prior to joining the last reality. The army of oh no, that's different. Oh no, that's about it. So prior to, of course, this, the army of last reality invades Fortnite, Save the World. Save the World was the original Fortnite. It was before all the battle royale stuff. They were fighting off the storm, the zombies. Later on, they'd have cubes and a Storm King come in. So it's always been Last Reality. Last Reality pretty much destroyed that world almost to full extinction of the humans on it until the very end. They're defeated at the end of the storyline by ancient humans, and the remains are buried deep underground, encased in ice. I don't know if the encased in ice has anything to do with the Ice King. Is never actually told in the storyline. Um, unknown time ago, the Ice King and his brave allies begin collecting items of power and create a SCP like foundation. They start collecting anything too dangerous to exist or that might cause mass destruction or cause reality change events. And they collect the monster of the Devour, they collect the Infinity Blade, and they bring it to the Ice King's planet, which will eventually be known as the Ice Moon. The prisoner or the Fire King, which is one of Ice King's best friends, staunchest allies, ends up wanting to use the items of power to alter realities to their liking, pretty much changing all realities to behave and not be criminal. But the Ice King realizes that's doing the same thing. It's just changing reality using the items they're not supposed to. They get into a fight. He's forced to freeze the prisoner because the prisoner's the Ice King, Fire King. Sorry. Um, he has to freeze his entire moon, which includes himself. He launches the moon prior to himself being frozen into reality zero, believing it is a safe place to keep it, where no one should be able to in and out of. Was he wrong? Sometime in the past and their original world, which this world is apparently part of, the River Guard and the Fox Clan become historic rivals. Later on, the River Guard, Fox Clan, and the Peace Syndicate, which is up and coming, come together to build the Mega City, which is just like a cyberpunk city we see in It's ported in chapter 4. Sorry, I'm watching someone trying to catch themselves on fire, playing with a fire pit over there. Got distracted. I got distracted and I don't know where I was. There we are. At this point, Mystica, a homeworld, is destroyed. The destruction is unknown, but it's believed that the Herald may have destroyed it. We don't know at this time if she works for Last Reality, but it's likely. Or maybe she's working directly with the Nothing. We don't know if the Nothing is a Last Reality member, the creator of the Last Reality, or a side villain. Mystica ends up in the same world as Mega City and creates a new faction known as the Luminaries. They are a group of people that seem to use some kind of liquid to empower themselves and make themselves glow. We've seen a few Luminaries now. The Unseen becomes a syndicate in Mega. The Unseen is, if I remember correctly, the Chaos people, right? Let me see here. Yeah, they're the Chaos people led by Renzo and Highwire and Peely. They actually have two traders in their midst, Dahlia and Styx, who end up working with the Last Reality. And that's actually the last time we hear of the Last Reality in game, is that they're contacting them. After that, we've never heard the Last Reality again, outside the OG's Fortnite cube happening right now. What we got here? Hour 40. Okay. Man, there's a lot of pregame to go through here. At some point, Dahlia ends up with the cube of the Child's Cube Catastrophe. That's right, ends up on map 4. The Foundation, a person who would eventually become a member of the group known as 7, comes into contact with the Zero Point around this time, and he's been studying it ever since, which becomes a problem for him later on. The Foundation ends up creating a suit and gets launched into the nothing. but survives it because of his suit. And he finds out his suit also allows him to survive other radiation and worlds that wouldn't allow him to survive while he's messing with the 0 point. The lady who would eventually be known as the Paradigm comes into contact with the Reality Warriors in her reality. Reality Warriors are what the seven base their look, design, and goals on. But by the time we get to the Reality Warriors temples in Chapter 4 and Map 4, they're pretty much extinct. There's nobody home. There's nothing left. I think Paradigm may have been the last one of them. Um, there. Sometime in the past, Midas and Marigold are both cursed by the Golden Touch. Because of their eye damage, it is likely that the curse damages their eye as well. Yes, it is a cute cat. At some point, Midas accidentally turned his daughter into gold, which I think happens in the original Midas story, but don't quote me on that. It's been a while since I read that in school. But he did turn her back through unknown means. Now, I don't know if this means he turned Marigold into gold because she already had the gold power. She shouldn't be able to be recurse, or turn the other daughter into gold. Whose name I've suddenly forgotten. There's too many characters in this thing. Let's see. You should tell me his family here in the wiki. Jules, that's her name, Jules. The lady who's originally part of Shadow. At this sometime close to the beginning of chapter 1, Midas sets up a Shadow and Ghost organization. They're quiet all the way through chapter 1, and it is until chapter 2 that they make their move. It's not clear if Midas is in. No, no, you know what? We do know one of the Midas is in chapter 1 because he's the owner of the storm suit, and that came in uh, inside chapter 1. So I'm assuming his daughter is also from chapter 1's reality. It says Nolan Chance heisted a slap juice cobalt. Okay. I don't remember that in the storyline ever. Eons ago. Oh my god, how long? Okay, we're almost there. This is the last few of the pre or unknown timelines. Eons ago, the ancients inside a jungle civilization that we would know later in chapter 4 as the Rumble Ruins used refined kinetic ore to create amazing technologies. So they created the apparatus. We do know kinetic ore was both inside their world as well as the medieval world from IO's leaders. So kinetic ore appears to be a multi-world item. If you don't know what kinetic ore is, it first appeared during the meteor crash and gave you a boost. They've been using it to create weapons, and the kinetic hammer is also believed to be the same crystal that creates the cubes. Oddly, the kinetic ore is purple, but the cubes, when they're purple, are considered cursed by the last reality's purple powers. So we don't know why that is. The cubes also have other colors. We do know that gray means they've been turned off. EMPs can turn them off since they're um, machines. Blue means they've been reset and are now kind of being controlled by the people who reset them, would be us in chapter 3. And red, which was rolling around the island until it got turned into purple recently in the OG time travel, um, was friendly. It would just heal us and port us away if we annoyed it. Anyway, the ancients used the kinetic ore to create technologies such as the apparatus. Um, the apparatus was able to look at the stars, predict future events, and stuff like that. At this time, Optimus Prime, the uh, the Transformer, got in contact with the ancients. The apparatus made a prediction of the eclipse and the arrival of the revenant vampire Cato Thorn. Cato Thorn, I was really confused on. He was a vampire and a time traveler, and he collected things through time and history, which could change some realities if it was not a timeline dividing timeline that we're on. I don't think it would have changed the reality we were directly on. Um, the way he was time traveling looked like he was using an anchor point like they do in the Avengers. So he's just popping in and out of our reality and taking items from the past and technically creating other realities. But I was always confused because Jonesy made a huge deal about stealing his time machine and resetting time, and I never saw Kato as the big threat. Apparently, he wasn't. Kato was a side story. We'll get to that later. I finally understand because I've been reading this what the big threat was. They did a really poor job of the storyline in chapter 4. We've always known that. So many loose threads, so poorly done. Yes, I'm still there. We waited so long. The Fortnite gave us an issue, tried to kick us out. Um, let's just move around so it doesn't get too busy. Eons ago, stars start to blink out one by one. Now, this is a long time ago. We don't know how long. We don't know before some of this is most likely when this happened. But a long time ago, sometime after the original creation, the stars blink out one by one until there were only a few left, sort of like they did in Doctor Who, if you're a Doctor Who fan. Then a, quote, brilliant L helps a, quote, clever fox erupt a new Big Bang. This isn't a full Big Bang like Jonesy does, where it creates a new timeline, but it fills the vast emptiness with new stars. Around this time, the Triarchs, a group of demigods, fall. Their realm falls. It's not really told why their realm falls. Um, just that they did. There was three Triarchs. One was Nox, which was the Triarch of evening or night, and one was Aurora, the Triarch of daytime or daylight or the morning. Um, Nox encountered a decaying force and became evil. That could indicate he got in touch with the nothing or last reality. We're not sure. Aurora ended up the last ruler of their fallen realm, but really couldn't just hold it together. We don't know if the last reality, the nothing, or just whatever this decaying force is was the cause of the fall of their realm. There's no conclusion to that storyline yet. That was from chapter 4, so we don't know if we'll have a conclusion to that storyline. Sometime after the second Big Bang, the Pantheon realm came to place. Zeus and all of the Greek mythology that showed up in chapter 5. Sometime in the past, prior to us meeting them, Medusa anchors the immortals and becomes their target. Perseus kind of creates peace. Of course, we know later on when we come in there, it becomes an even bigger issue and we start a war. And that's where we're going to stop right now and play a little. I kind of want to go into OG real quick and check to see what the cube is doing. Is that you? Oh, okay. What'd you make? I don't step on the kitty. I don't know why she insists on just sitting in the middle of the walkway like that. No, just looking at the kid outside with a fire there. No, Mello, you don't go outside. It's too cold. You'll freeze to death. You're cute, Mello. You're cute. Give me the tummy rubs when you start attacking my foot. Hey guys, I'm going to enlarge live chat so it is back in. Hello. I see there's at least 3 people on here. Again, if y'all are watching this after, hello to y'all too. Feel free to chat below. I do reply to people when I get a chance. It does tell me when y'all say something. We're going to go OG real quick. Probably not spend all day in there. We'll spend most of the time in chapter 6, since this is our last time to be in there. I actually really like the chapter 6 island. Kind of miss it. It's not like chapter 4 or 5. I don't incredibly miss chapter 4 or 5. We're not huge fans of those islands. I did like chapter 5's increase the storyline quality, but I like the chapter 6 island. Well, it looks like the portal's brighter, or it might just because it's nighttime. I see some electricity going on down there. Let's just see what the cube is doing. If y'all can hear wind, let me know. I am like directly under a fan. This mic is supposed to decrease that problem, but I honestly don't know. I won't know till I listen to this back later. So Redvin slash Kevin is not leaking, but he's they are incredibly cracked. I can't set this up here. Darn, I'm going to set it up here. I think it's more cracked than it was yesterday. Not leaking yet. Nope, not leaking. Very cracked though. It doesn't have. Its hole got to open up down here. Huh? Shoot it. Does it? Ow, dicks. Oh, it is red. Ow. Ow, dicks. No idea. But yeah, I think you're right. I'm going to go bounce against it again as soon as someone stops electrocuting me with it. I can't tell. It could be more red eye, or we could just be seeing things. Oh, I'm gonna die here. Well, that's okay. I came in here just to check the cube. Now we go to chapter 6. Oh, we did get a new monthly skin, by the way, guys. I'll show you it. He's just gonna get you. I videotape her doing that. Doesn't do that with anybody else. Videotape like I'm recording with the camera. I need a recorder doing that. Jesus. We do have a new monthly. It's max speed. It's just sort of like a RPM almost like outfit. I know you can't see it, but Mello is now attacking my kid's hand. She seems very happy. But yeah, this will be the monthly one. Changes to blue and the usual colors. Brick, phase, uh, rhyme. Coughing. I mean, galaxy. Whoa, no. Go back to. How was that? Right. Awesome. There he is. The grabber. Okay, so now we go into. What about arsenic? Whoops. I completely forgot what we're doing here. Cancel for a minute. Or I guess I could read while it loads. I didn't even think about that. So yeah, let's load it. Okay, so it says millions of years ago. What? Is this inside a comic I missed? The Zero Point creates vibranium and ejects it into the Marvel multiverses. So apparently, the Zero Point is the creator of vibranium. Is that canon now? I guess at least Fortnite canon. Thousands of years ago, the Undying King, who would eventually become Gino, founds the Imagine Order and imprisons the Zero Point. Now, the Zero Point, when we finally find it, is in what appears to be an upside down last reality mothership. We don't know if Gino has a mothership, if last reality got their hands on it away from Gino, because it looks like the IO has to re-find it during that time anyway. How it happens, so it is definitely inside what we become to know as a last reality mothership. In order to assist with their task creating the loop, the IO visits the universe of Fortnite Save the World and steals Vinderman tech, as well as harnesses of the last reality storm and blue glow technology. The survivors of the storm all get put into the loop and become the first loopers. So yeah, the end of Save the World isn't great. They became the first loopers. They were the ones stuck into here to live a internal loop of battle. Might as well go see what's going over here. Oh, they must have upped that because that's supposed to be more rare. Laugh at me. God, it's been so long since I watched The Simpsons. I don't remember their name. Kangan something? We're just getting over here to check the treehouse one last time prior to the event. Do you think well, the island appears to be smaller, so I don't know if it's going to be an infection thing or what. First theory was, since it's growing over here, it seems to have some last reality curse cube energy running through it, as well as the lightning. It was just going to explode and take over the entire island, but it would have to shrink the island too, because Bart's Island is a lot smaller than the current island. Simpsons Island, I should say, that we've seen. Oh man, it sounds like the cube now too. So yeah, if you often see my shorts, you can go into Bart's Treehouse. It turns you sort of cell shaded, as cell shaded as it can, and then it'll show some memes here. That was not a meme. What was that? That looked like the last reality. Hold on. Let me see here a minute. Difficulties. Go back. I want to see that. The March dance. I wonder if the March dance is going to be a Fortnite dance. I heard we have the Mo dance coming in, which he ends with the shotgun blast, so whatever. So while we wait for this to loop, that was the bushes theme. If you aren't familiar with this character, this is the Grabber. He's from a movie called The Black Phone, and now The Black Phone 2. This is actually his ghost version from The Black Phone 2. The original Black Phone was actually a short story created by Joe Hill. If you don't know who Joe Hill is, let's just say he's Stephen King's son. And he's just as good a writer as his dad. He wrote the movie that became Horns, the book the short that became Horns, and Nosferatu, which also had its own TV series. Oh, that looked like the thing Gino looked like when we saw us at the 0 point. We don't know what that was. Could that indicate Gino's back, or could that be the nothing? Okay, we're gonna go over here into creepy Jason Voorhees territory. While my cat is snoring so loud, I can hear her through my earphones. So I'm assuming y'all might be able to hear her too. Poor kitty cat. She needs the sleep apnea machine. We only have a shotgun, but it's not a bad shotgun. Luckily, this guy left behind all his stuff. We have all this stuff. Storm. Oh, but we got some bullets. We gotta level up, which doesn't really matter because we already finished the entire season. While we're here, we're going to this bush check to make sure I collected all the characters. Yep, we have all the characters. Yeah, Billy Boney's probably going to be fine. I like that one. I got this moving. So this is the rock I found the other day. It looks like it has openings in it, like right here. Like this should allow us in, but there's no way to open it. I'm not positive. I've already spent some time trying to glitch myself in it. I can't find a way in, but those rocks look like they should be moved or breakable. And there's no switch, nothing that opens it. Can't break it or shoot it, and I couldn't get any of the bouncing devices to bounce me into it. Okay, we're going through Bugswater Beach. This is where the Megazord left its sword after the end of the Bug War. We're still technically on the chapter for the Bug War, which is why I thought we were going to have a Bug War ending today. But apparently we're going to go into mini season 2 first. This will be the second mini season they're trying. They honestly tried a mini season already this chapter. Let's see, let's drop this for that. The first mini season was the Star Wars chapter we had during chapter 6, which still has the First Order base in the top northeast corner. But this mini season sounds like it's an in between, like the OG season was originally, before OG had its own season. Get in a fight. Oh god, we have a freaking Scream person over here. I'm gonna die. Ghostface is so OP. I don't know where he went, and it is very spooky out here. Apparently I can't climb that rock. Why did I hear someone grunt? Oh, she had her. Okay. Last call. Okay, so I cannot swing with that. But I can dash with Scream. We won't dash the screen too much. The Ghostface special is probably one of my favorite specials of all Fortnite specials that came out. I really haven't got to use hers, but it looks like they're very similar to Hades' chain. The damn heal. But I hear them. I don't really think he's going. I'm able to see him, I think, the entire time now. Oh, speaking of Ghostface, I don't know if y'all saw, but there is a 7th movie coming out. Scream. It's going to star the original actresses, because Jenna Ortega quit after they fired one of the other actresses. We'll go ahead and take that in for that. Roll the Scooby Snacks, eat the Scooby Snacks. Uh, I wish this power was like didn't wear off. Oh, they got a bug. That might actually kill me if they did. Arm bug blaster. Okay. While we wait here. Sometime after they visited the... Yo. Oh, so we don't want to cut down our trees, though. We have pretty trees. Possibly. But if they're green where they're still somewhat alive, they won't burn very well.
Pretty good right now.
Oh, it's like, what the hell is that noise? Yeah, treated wood you don't want to mess with. Actual limbs are okay. As long as it's not oleander. Oh, that sounds like it was just tree wood that was nailed into. It's your cool. So anyway, after the last reality visited the Save the World, they created what was known as the loop. The loop was the creation of a secondary 0 point reality. They split the realities. There's the original 0 point reality where there is no storm, no 15-minute loop, and no need to fight each other. Then there's the loop where in that reality there's a 15-minute loop. There's a last reality storm they shoved into it because why not? The 0 point is programmed. Oh, they're happening almost like every drop now. The 0 point is programmed to let's go over here to the first order base. And anyway, 0 point is programmed to erase memories at the time when the loop existed normally. And my child has a hatchet and now I'm scared. Man, someone help me. Someone help me retire. But so yeah, some of the events that happen in the 0 point timeline also happen in the copy and vice versa, such as most of the events actually happen in the copy of the 0 point. We think it's a type of containment, but their results are shown in the original 0 point island. For example, when the kinetic crystal towers are created prior to the primal event by the Foundation, in the Batman comics, which explore the other non-looping 0 point reality, show that the crystal tower still exists. They still had the crystal tower show up and the 0 point raised out of its spot, possibly by Galactus. It's not told whether or not they could actually see Galactus, how much of that they saw, but it is indicated the two realities show each other. We haven't seen too much of the other reality since we haven't had like a full-on comic in a while, I don't think. Around this time, the IO kidnaps more and more people, puts them in the loop. Sometime around this time, Gino actually achieves immortality. At this point, he also creates a 0 point copy of himself and places it in his homeworld kingdom to rule. We got a chainsaw. Like nobody's over here. No one comes to the first order base anymore. It's old and forgotten. Oh no, I hear fire. Never mind. If you remember, the First Order base before it was a Star Wars event was around here is where the demons area was, but it was raised and repurposed by the First Order. Also, that fire sounded closer. Okay, we got a flyaway point here. Just looking for possible gun replacements and or special weapons. Again, I do not have the live chat up, so if you're trying to chat with me, you may need to repeat yourself so I can see it on screen if I miss it for some reason. I shouldn't miss it, I'm looking on screen. But let's go fight. We're just going to be aggressive and fight today. Killed Brutus, killed Goku. Et tu, Brute. What do you got, Brutus? Ooh, I like these out. Yes. Not a good shotgun. And we gotta run. I thought this is a gray shotgun. It is a good shotgun. Do need some. Ooh. Nope, blasted your ears out. You're welcome. Excuse you. Oh, look, it's the portal. This is the portal that Diego ran through prior to the whole demon bug thing. I know I'm getting shot at. There he is. What shotgun do you have? Meh. I'll keep that shotgun. It's serving me well. Haven't got to see Black Phone 2 yet. Just haven't had time to go or money to go see it. Still in between jobs, so if y'all have anything little y'all want me to do, and I will definitely trade in a shotgun for that. Let me know. Free voice acting, free is free, guys. Just, give me credit, and you can have all the free shit. Doesn't look like anybody has this over here yet. I don't think I mentioned this. I got a call from a voice acting agency, and they're like, "Hey, we can represent you," because I gave them I guess they liked my deep voice, but they're like, "What experience do you have?" I went, "None." "What training do you have?" "None." "You're gonna need some kind of education." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, never mind." Gonna give me free education? No, I didn't think so. Okay, we're going. Where am I? That was the Supernova Academy, the Academy for Superheroes for the Diego Demon season prior to the bug invasion. Before OXR became the ruling government. I think OXR is technically still the ruling government, aside from the Thorn Lady coming in and taking over everything. They're the ruling legal government, whereas the Thorn Lady is the now invading empire. Got one of y'all in here anyway. Yeah. Someone's sitting here watching over there, eating a burger. Yeah, our burger by the looks of it, and some bird wings, and drinking a beer. They're drinking a beer. It even has something on there. Can't tell what it says though. I do believe so. Went into Belma's. Oh shit! Well, come on out. Come on out before you lose your chance. Oh, dick. I thought he was gonna attack me as freaking Ghostface, not spite me. I, oh, I hit return instead, but that should give us some time to talk here. So the IO starts kidnapping more and more people and putting them into the loop from different realities. I don't know how a ghost gets put into the loop unless the afterlife is just a different reality. Don't ask me. I just make it. Oh, let's see what we got here. We don't have the timer on right now. That's weird. It's good if you like pumpkin. I drink it. We also have pumpkin foam in the fridge if you want to put it in there. Okay, so 54 minutes before we can come in. So let's go back to Zero Build Battle Royale. They got rid of the timer over here, which is weird. We got about an hour. Okay, so Gino, Cheese of Morality, we did that. He did a snapshot of him to rule the Oathbound Empire, which is his old empire. The IO constructs golems. I don't remember the IO golems very well. The IO constructs the bridge. The bridge uses kinetic ore, which comes from his reality, to create slabs to help use their energy to dial the 0 point. The 0 point, if undialed and then traveled through, actually rips the individual apart that goes through it and sends his pieces to different realities. You go in, do it, and end up in like 5 different realities. Of course, dead as heck. But with the ability to dial it, you can dial it to whatever reality you are aware of and go to that reality. For example, when the Oathbound Zero copy tried to create a new bridge, the Seven's AI hijacked it in an attempt to find the scientists from the other 7 and went elsewhere into a place where the He found the 7, but they're corrupted. That's, again, the end of the 7 story that we know of. The imagined and order are born from genetic engineering, which indicates they're either clones or in vitro, but we don't know their mother if they're in vitro. Imagined and order are forced into the 0 point to learn how to fight. He's unimpressed with the well, there's a big old gold glow over here now. We're gonna go over here and just wait, I guess, to see what's going on. I don't know if it's gonna be in-map event or an event we can choose on the way out. So we'll just hang out over here near the event place. Probably get killed a whole bunch, keep coming in. Old school style. The last few events have been outside these areas. You'd go into like a lobby. But anyway, he was unimpressed with his daughters. So what he did was, when the 0 point created copies of them, the 0 point copies, he took them out of the 0 point and left his original daughters in the 0 point because Gina was a dick. At some point after this, Dr. Sloan, a child genius, joins the Imagine Order. We're not entirely sure if she joined when she was a kid, because it does show her as a kid at some point, or if she joined when she was an adult. But she becomes one of the top-ranking Imagine Order, and one of the top scientists of the Imagine Order as well. What we could do is we could sit on top of Bart's treehouse and not get bothered by anybody who doesn't have a gun, and just watch the timer click down. Keep 1 minute. Ooh, that's gonna kill me. That didn't kill me. Huh. Nothing on here. But yeah, we're gonna get shot because I fell in the tree. There's something over here we can grab it and survive. There's R2D2 and Red over here. What the heck? Oh, that's not R2D2. That's a rusty black one. Or if that's R2D2, R2D2's been here a while. He's very faded. We have 2 astromech droids over here. I've never seen this before. How long have they just been sitting over here? That's crazy. Mello, what are you doing? What is that? There's a boss over here. Mello, are you bothering your sister? Let me come over there. I see a boss over here. I bet it's Jason. Get her ass kicked by Jason. Did he teleport? He did. Come here, Deadite. Well, there's just a noise, so there goes my theory. My theory was they didn't give us the medallion because of the weird anti-copyright crap that goes on with Jason. There's like 5 people claim they created him. Mm. Woo! Oh, I'm out. Okay. Oh, see, it gives you a gold shot thing right here, which is pretty cool. It's a pretty good weapon. We're gonna go over here to this pumpkin, see what we can grab from it, and then run on. Because we are really close to the storm here. Which doesn't matter, because Al can ride a broom. Apparently, Dr. Stone, I don't remember this in game either. They must have just did this elsewhere. Dr. Stone, after joining in Last Reality, got doctorates in different realities just to prove her worth. Like, yeah, slow down. At some point, the Foundation, while studying the 0 point, gets pulled into the loop and trapped there. We don't know exactly if the Foundation was trapped there due to uh, the IO or on accident. There. I'll take that. Oh, I won't replacing that, but I grabbed the bullets. I guess I grabbed the bullets. I hear more screamy drones versus screamy drones. And dead. We'll go ahead and do this real quick. We'll grab the health item and we'll save Scooby Snacks for later. Be interesting to see if they have third person like cinema in this one. What our characters look like in the Simpsons. I think I will, of course, be resetting the entire locker, and we'll be using cartoon characters during this MS2. So Family Guy, things like that. Anything's normally cartoonish. I don't think I have a lot of those, actually. So let's go ahead and read here while we're here. Let's see. Foundation is trapped in the loop. Around this time, the Cube King realizes the last reality and the cubes are evil, and defuncts from the last reality, defects. The Cube King is then captured by the Imagined Order on his way out, and I don't think they force him into the loop. I think they just imprison him. The 7 are formed. The Imagine and Orders files are deleted from the IO database by Gino as they believe they get in touch with and become part of the Seven. Imagine it loses her memory thanks to the zero reality issues, um, which I think helps spur them create, most likely spurs them create more Foundation-like suits for everybody else. I hear that. The fuck? That was weird. Future Scooby Snacks. Child Napper. I don't know how to listen. We're listening. Then we have centuries ago. So that was thousands of years ago. Most of these characters are thousands of years old. Centuries ago, Jones leaves his family and joins the Imagine Order. Now, it says leaves his family in a home reality. Jones is originally seen inside the Save the World. We don't know if at that time he's from that reality or if he joined it as a spy. Anyway, where were we? We don't know if he is a spy at the time, if this is an alternate reality Jones. We're going to assume that he was part of the Imagine Order and he got in there as kind of precursor to the Imagine Order, getting in and stealing everybody to the loop. Or Jones could have, of course, alternate reality versions, and the Jones inside Save the World is a completely different one. Jones is tasked to jump into the zero point. He's the first one to go into the zero point using the bridge, which creates a zero copy of him every time he goes in, which means is the reason he has so many zero copies of them, known as Jonesies. The first one being known as Jonesy the First. The Shapeless Man adopts a young Rift Warden named Stellan and made him join the Oathbound. The Shapeless Man, we don't know who he is. He is a villain that the Warden Stellan has nightmares of and tells what to do. He tried to get him to steal the bridge technology the Oathbound was doing in Chapter 4. He has... The Warden does have some chrome on him as well as some glowing that looks like Last Reality. So some people think the Shapeless Man and the Nothing might be the same people, but we don't know. The Shapeless Man is another loose thread that has never been shaped into anything. The Sages are exiled from the Oathbound after they make a disturbing prophecy on the Ageless Champion. I don't remember that. I don't know what that means. So a group of sages are exiled from the Oathbound after they make a disturbing prophecy of the Ageless Champion. Probably saying that, hey, you're Chino and you're Dick. You're going to shove your daughters inside some battle loop and take their copies as your actual daughters. I don't know where I'm going. I hope there's a way down from over here. I think I'm near the wolf statue. I'm not near the wolf statue. I'm near the cave. Ooh, the cave has been fully closed in now. Looks like we have some rockfall right there. By the gold looks of it happened after the original demon, when the gold came out. Probably launched that rock there as the mountains grew. Sunsets are pretty in Fortnite. bunny balloon. Come back, senor. You weren't done. Shit. I want to get more from him, but I'm not going to be able to. What do you got over here? Oh no, I got mythic. What am I doing? Yeah.
It's a scream.
I swear I heard someone's footsteps. Am I cray-cray? Generations ago, an unknown individual manages to beat the Nothing's last reality for your recruitment trials, whatever that means. This is an unknown individual. Some unknown individual got into the last reality recruitment. The spire appears in Raz's dreams. So at this point, this is centuries ago. Apparently, Raz. Well, this can't be centuries ago because Raz is an adult and had dreams when he was a kid. As far as we know, he is. But at some point in the past, the spire appears in a young Raz's dream. Unless he's been inside the loop for longer than we think. The vengeful spirit Condor is given the Emperor's family in Reality 42 and is passed down for generations. And then we hit Chapter 1. Chapter 1, the Looper and Renegade Raider are thrown into the loop. The Looper is us. In Renegader, we can inhabit any kind of 0 point copies character, pretty much. Durburger and Let's see where we're going. We're pushing up to the mountain. We've got a... Woo-wee. Have no health left.
Get them.
Oh, I ran out of sprint. Ooh, I didn't realize that. Okay, let's return to the lobby and see what the lobby's doing, shall we? Burger and Uncle Pete's Pizza are thrown into the loop, where they will create food joints and try to run it from there. Some point, Renegade Raider escapes the loop, or tries to, I believe. I think he hits the loop wall, and he seems to disintegrate. It isn't clear if he's escaped the loop, or if he hits the loop wall and just disintegrates. Fortnite Festival's fun. 31 minutes. Not even Bart's Treehouse can contain it. Kick back on the couch, grab a donut, and welcome King and Kodos on November 1st at 11 p.m. Is it going to be inside the game, though? They do not say. So we're going to hit zero build again and sit next to that as much as possible. If it gets really close to 10 and I'm still in game, we'll pop out, see what that says, and pop back in, see what that says, and keep doing that over and over again. Over and over. So in season 3, we don't have really big storyline until season 3, chapter 1. A comet appears in the sky around week 5 to 9. It gradually gets closer over time. On season 10, small meteorites breaking off of the comet begin to land on the island as a precursor to the large meteor. Between season 3 and 4, a meteor hits and crashes into the factory, vaporizing the facility and creating a massive crater. Let me get out of the possible zone of third-party music over here. The resulting crater destroys most of Dusty Depot, and an entire area is renamed Dusty Divot. Smaller comet fragments damage tilted towers, risky reels, and the prison. The prison gets a really large problem where if there was anybody in that prison, they're gone. Why there's a prison in the loop, I don't know, but it's probably run by IO. Get out of here. Let's get out of here. Something was trying to play a video over my video. The government, which is most likely the IO, show up and capture the meteor. And hello, King and whatever, Krang and King, Krang and Bang, Bang the Krang, whatever their names are. So I actually try to land on Mark's place this time and not fall off like a dumbass. I'm assuming it's going to be in the map because 30 minutes prior, usually they have a lobby of some kind open. So we're just going to hang out in the tree and I'm going to read more of the storyline to you. And if we don't get to the end of the storyline by the time of the event, we'll finish it afterwards. Because we're still on chapter 1. Sometimes events are in map, sometimes the events are outside the map. I have absolutely no clue what they're doing. So we're just going to sit on top of this tree for as long as possible. Tree is indestructible, so we should be somewhat safe. 27 minutes. At least until the storm comes in. So the IO comes in, aiming to be like the government, and there's a large building around it, shielded prying eyes. Government cars and trucks also arrive each of the smaller craters that are dotted around the island. They study the mysterious hot rocks, which are the first kinetic crystals we'll ever have on the island, found there. Kinetic crystals apparently are not original to the original island, though we do get them when we combine the different realities together in Chapter 4. Season 4, Chapter 4, Season 2, production of a movie begins, which the evil supervillain Omega found himself freed from the prison due to destruction of the comet fragment. The heroes, led by Carbide, begin formulating the plan of the hero mansion near Lonely Lodge. In his villain lair, Omega began to assemble an army of augmented soldiers for a final battle with the superheroes, taking place in Tilted Towers. A movie set was built at Moisty Mire for the filming, and the hero mansion and villain lair were also constructed for the filming. However, the villain lair itself actually contained what was thought to be a rocket prop for Omega's sinister intentions, but which played a major role in lore later weeks of the season. We don't know if the villains maybe took things too seriously because of the 0 points mind erasing when they got set in to the island, or if Omega was always the real villain to begin with, actually released from the prison, or what's going on. We honestly don't know what's going on there. Around season 5, it looks like the production of the movie is complete and is released, so they do get around the movie. 6 to 7, the government collects all the kinetic ore and transports them to the villain lair. Not long after, they drill through the comet rock at Dusty Divot, which reveals the visitor's pod, because they always travel in asteroids for some reason. It seems as if the meteor was actually a method of transportation that the visitor used to get to the island. The seemingly hostile individual visitor breaks out of his pod and trashes the research facility. Of course, we now know that the IO and the 7 are enemies of the Swywine, and escapes to the villain lair, which already contained all the hop rocks assembled by the government, or kinetic ore. The visitor proceeds to modify the fake prop rocket in the lair to allow it to channel the 0 point field using the kinetic ore, and begins fueling it with the kinetic ore. The rocket takes off in Season 9 at the very end from the villain lair, leaving behind a thick trail of smoke as it ascends into the sky. It momentarily stopped in the air to break off its booster rocket before accelerating quickly. The booster rocket hits a farm and destroys one of the 2 main farms in Fortnite, which sells later on. Once reaching the high altitude, the rocket shut off its engines and stalled in the air before plummeting back towards the island. The visitor could have been heard saying 0 point oscillator on, setting coordinates, engaging quantum field accelerator during the thing. The rocket activates the laser that points directly at Tilted Towers and boosts towards the location. However, before it could hit, the rocket opens a sideways rift between 2 realities. Now, sideways rifts, just to let you know, are 2 rifts in between reality or do the same reality. Anytime we use a rift, how do you say a rift orb, we sideways rift into the air back into the same reality. They're unstable sideways rifts are unstable. We don't know how long they stay open. There's no way to really control them. They're a forced tear through reality and time and space. Okay. I didn't die. Okay. Okay, we're going to outrun the storm, see how long it lasts. We have 22 minutes. I'm not sure we're going to outrun the storm, and I already hurt myself. Brenda's staying in there. I mean, it's not a bad idea. Let's die. We're here for the thing. However, before it hits the sideways rift. This sideways rift is temporary, and the rocket goes through the rift and boosts out of another one over Mr. Myers. Likely he's creating rifts in between the same reality, just like our shaker orbs. They're easier to do. They close on their own. And he flies around the island to enter another rift near Savi's shores. Finally, the rocket boosted out of another rift at Loot Lake and accelerated into the sky, blasting through space-time and creating a gigantic sideways rift in the sky known as the sideways rift. That doesn't make sense. I don't know who wrote that. The rift did not close. It scared the shit out of me for some reason. I felt it vibrate on my lap. I thought it was going to like jump off my lap. The rift doesn't close, and instead slowly grows over the days until season 5. It's a sideways rift that went to a different reality. We don't know which reality, and it really damaged space and time. As the sideways rift continues to grow, smaller rifts begin opening around the island and throughout different realities, rifting different objects from the island into other realities. Most famously, the Derberger is rifted and appears in our real world, in a remote part of California desert, where it's guarded by an unknown group of agents. We're assuming they're our version of IO. Sand starts to leak from the sideways rift, and rifts begin bringing objects from different realities to the island, namely a ship wagon, dinosaur bones, and ancient wagon. In Chapter 5, we have what's known as World Collides. The sideways rift collides different realities together. A large number of map changes occur, including the introduction of a giant desert, which replaces Moisture Mire. So, back in the day, I had theorized that the desert was actually some global warming thing. And between the chapters were several years. But it seems like I'm wrong. It seems like that was like everything else on the map was rifted over. What? I can have my theories, and they can be wrong. I have this emote. Anyway, back to what we're doing. Mr. Meyer Drift, who is in our world, was painting graffiti on the Derberger in the real world when he and the Derberger are suddenly rifted back in the island. He starts this adventure with the Bright Bomber, Cuddle Team Leader, and Rex and others who also sort of rifted in. Oh, excuse me, holy shit. Yeah, they're appearing at every drop now. They're no longer rare. I'm assuming just because it's leading up to the event. And it's on the other side of the island. I can't say about Cuddle Team Leader and Rex. Well, Rex is Jonesy, so he's been on the island too. And Bright Bomber is, of course, from Save the World, which has been on since the beginning. About 30-ish, 20-ish minutes, 20 minutes.
Would. You get that big old operator that I found, like, fell off a whole tree.
Don't let the kitty out. Cool. In Season 2 to 5 of Chapter 5 in Worlds Collide, Drift's road trip begins, and he goes on various adventures in his new reality. And each adventure features him progressing through his edit style. And as we know, he eventually joins the Fox Clan, or creates the Fox Clan. I think he joins it. I don't think he creates it. But he eventually becomes the leader of the Fox Clan, and one of the most famous members. The sideways rift above the island starts to shrink around Season 6 of that chapter, and changes from blue to purple color, meaning the fabric reality is healing. But the last reality has taken control. While the fabric reality is healing, the last reality has taken control of it. Thus the purple. Let's get down here and land. 17 minutes. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to land over here. If the storm comes, we're going to damage ourselves, let the storm take us, and come back in. Unless the alternate... The hell am I looking at? What is that? It's not a Peely. Okay, so 17 minutes. Around season 7, enforcers arrive to restore the island's missing items. These are IO. One of the loading screens depicts the enforcers returning the motel sign to the island. The sideways rift begins to shoot purple lightning bolts at the hill on the desert, eventually accumulating the formation of our very first cube, which we, in the real world, named Kevin. The sideways rift closes after that process. This was a method that the Last Reality used to transport one of its cubes to the island, with the goal of locating the 0 point and destroying Reality Zero. Remember, like I said earlier, the 0 point at this time is inside a Last Reality UFO ship or mothership. We don't know much of how the mothership got down there, why it has the 0 point in it. We do know in the time travel version OG, the red cube we named Brevin got into the Last Reality ship below the lake, and then became purple, thus corrupted. In seasons 8 and 10, a rift at Tomato Town brings the Tomato Temple onto the island. It replaces Tomato Town as a result. Apparently, Tomato Head was drifted back into some ancient civilization with Mayan and became worshipped. Yeah, he was the pyro. Now, what did you say when you walked in?
So they want to go to it opens or is it right?
Okay, well, we're going to go after the event. I already planned the event stuff. Are you talking about go to Fiesta, Texas? Okay. Now, the rest of this you kind of saw with me on the OG island. The cube rolled around the island, imprinting seven glyphs around the island in different locations, with anti-gravity domes surrounding each one of them. In the red version, it was a little different. The Kevin cube was violent and aggressive. If you attacked it, it shocked you back. It was, of course, controlled by Last Reality, whereas Redvin, which we saw roll around, was kind and healed us. And there goes our thing. Oh, that was just enough to kill me. Oh, actually, you know what? Let's go back to the lobby.
I washed my hands with this.
Okay, so this says 14 minutes, and it's not opening this yet. So we'll go back into zero build, and then come out once we die again. Uh-oh. They're having issues. Oh, that's not going to be good. Okay, then we're going to try something. Because that one's working. Welcome, our alien overlord will start in 5 minutes. Did they turn off? Oh, they must have turned off the main game. Oh. I can't go into the main game. That's why it wasn't letting us in. Okay, well, we have 13 minutes to sit in the lobby, I guess. Hopefully just try to kick me again. Because if you can see, I can't get into regular game. Let's go down to other experiences by Epic. Battle Royale. Battle Royale does not exist anymore. They've turned it off for this. Okay, then. Okay, so where are we at? The cube rolls around the island and pretending la la la. The cube destroys the brand new building in Tilted Towers because Tilted Towers kept getting its one building hit. It was destroyed by the meteors. It was destroyed by the cube rolling through hit. And then it ends up in Loot Lake where it dissolves into the water and turns to bouncy, just like we saw with Red Bindu, only it was purple. Then the rest of this you've kind of seen happen with OG, because after Red Bindu rolled into the lake, he got cursed and he turned into Kevin. The cube's matter began to gather towards Loot Lake Island and forms the cube underneath the central island. The cube rifts out the island and it lifts it into the air. This is something we saw in a cutscene, by the way. Keeping it suspended in a tornado-like vortex. A mysterious purple whirlpool lies where the island rested, likely leading to the vault, which we know is the last reality ship. The anti-gravity domes surrounding each glyph have been disabled, but the areas surrounding them have been corrupted and twisted by the evil power of the cube. The glyphs could have been a process that cube used to collect energy for later reabsorption, which from the island. So likely what happened is the glyphs were absorbing energy from the island itself, which corrupted everything around it, creating the dead zones. And at some point, the floating island begins to move around the pleasant park, corrupted areas to absorb the energy they collected, carrying the glyphs out of the ground and lifting them into the air. Once the cube was finished, the glyph was dropped back to the ground on the island moved on. One by one, the floating island visited each corrupted zone, and last one being Dusty Divot. During this stage, all the glyphs from each corrupted zone levitated into the air and began moving towards the floating island around Dusty Divot. Energy from all glyphs at once were absorbed into the cube. We don't know if this was on purpose, because it seems the cube's why we know what happens to the cube, but it may not have been able to contain such energy for such time. Finally, energy from each glyph was exhausted, and they dropped to the ground lifeless. Throughout the journey, the cube began growing through the floating island, eventually growing completely through the house. I don't know if we're actually going to have an event here. I don't think we're going to have event people. I think we're just going to have a start of MS1. But we're going to see if there's an event. If anything, we'll play like a few rounds of MS2. Sorry, MS2. Throughout this journey, the cube began growing through the floating island, eventually growing completely through the house. You could see the cubes going up into the island. The island returns to Leaky Lake. As the cube pulses with energy, it shoots a purple energy beam into the sky, forming a vortex that likely be a reality, a portal, like an interdimensional portal, to the last reality's dimension, which would allow them to invade. This failure, we don't know that it fails, likely is what leads to the next invasion with dozens of cubes, because the one cube couldn't handle it. Around season 5, the floating island violently explodes, causing it to split into 3 islands. The cube material that grew through the house was blasted out and scattered across the island. These cube shards created portals from which cube monsters would appear and kill any loopers on sight. A dense fog also covered the entire island following the explosion and started the Fortnite Nightmares of 2018. The cube monsters created was likely a method that the cube used to distract the population from the vortex being formed by the cube and itself. By season 6, and something that has yet to happen in OG but will be happening in a few days, I would predict, the cube begins to lose energy and the outer shell cracks and melts off into the vortex, presumably into the last reality ship we know as the vault and into the 0 point. What that does, we're not entirely sure. In season 7, we have the Butterfly event. Calamity rallies an army and they all attack the cube together at Loot Lake. The cube turns white and begins to lose its energy, with the outer shell attracting and melting off. Eventually, the cube explodes, partially damaging the 0 point and sending all the loopers into the in-between, which is the first time the dimension is presented to the players. The in-between is something we don't go into a lot. It's actually inside the 0 point and is where all realities connect. Well, that died off quick. While the loopers are away, all the matter at Loot Lake is reorganized, reforming the Loot Lake into a peaceful paradise with large pieces of the cube resting in its center. All the monster generators and fog are wiped off from the island, along with the monsters themselves, ending Fort Nightmare. We believe the 0 point did this as a type of security feature, like a self-protection feature. In season 8, AIM arrives from its area, a large iceberg off the distance, at Flush Factory, and starts scanning the island and an iceberg nearby. Of course, now we know that giant iceberg was actually a chunk of the ice moon that, as it had defrosted naturally in the zero reality, was just a chunk of the ice moon there, a place where they kept things secret and safe, which included the Ice King's actual castle. So his entire main building fell into the island. The iceberg arrives on the island along with the Ice King and his kingdom. Frosty Flights, Happy Hamlet, and Polar Peak are introduced, while the Flush Factory, Greasy Grove, Flush Factory and Exped is destroyed, and Greasy Grove is covered in ice. Flush Factory is just outright destroyed. Greasy Grove you actually see later covered in ice, but it's not completely destroyed. Expedition invades the island from their main headquarters of Frosty Flights, setting up numerous expedition outposts throughout the island. Expedition is the leader of AIM. Actually, he's not from the King, and he is led by Sergeant Winter. Part of Polar Peaks begins to melt, revealing the Ice King's gigantic castle, which also contains mysterious eggs held in the cells within the dungeon. I'm good. I don't want any tree limbs. You having fun playing with your axe? Okay. We have 5 minutes, people. 5 minutes, and hopefully we can get into whatever's going on here. If it isn't an event, I'm sorry. It just played itself as an event. It says this is an event. They did turn off OG, which is interesting. Not OG, I'm sorry, regular, which is interesting. So we'll see what happens in 5 minutes. I'm going to assume it's probably going to be like a beginning event. You know how chapter it was the primal season of chapter 3 had an event that led into this season. I think that's what we're going to have here. We're going to have an event lead into season 2. It's not going to be a multiplayer event unless you have people with you, which I don't, so it'll just be him. I keep moving things around just to make sure it doesn't kick me. Okay, still can't get in. Sergeant Winter was on Polar Peaks, technically. He had inhabited as part of the expedition outpost. We don't know exactly if he is related to or part of the team of the Ice King, but likely he is. It is likely AIM and the expedition, or AIM, and Sergeant Winter were all part of the Ice King's things up in the Ice Moon, and probably washed over to everybody else is frozen. But once they hit the zero row world, they lost their minds due to the 0 point, and likely Sergeant Winter is just like, ho ho, I'm Santa Claus. Sergeant Winter in season 3 of this chapter begins distribution of Christmas presents at Frosty Flights, something he would continuously do the rest of his life. Polar Peak continues to melt, revealing a prisoner frozen in ice and chained in Polar Peak's castle dungeon. The Ice King finally ends his slumber and wakes up, getting up from his throne. The Ice King, freaked out that he's no longer on his ice moon and that everything's melting, finds a shard of the cube and manifests its power. He forms a snowstorm that sweeps over the island, unleashing the Ice Legion. with the ice versions of cube monsters, also trying to freeze the island to recontain the prisoner and contain everything else. However, the prisoner is already mostly free and frees himself from the Ice King's prison by melting the ice and escapes. He steals the eggs from the dungeon cells and travels to the northeast side of the island, where you know what will eventually pop up. The prisoner finally regains his power as Fire King and casts a spell. Welling Woods begins to heat up, and the grass and leaves begin to die in Welling Woods. If you remember around that time frame, the forests and the grass turn brown, indicating that there's something going on with the island. Huh? She's a cute cat. Oh, yeah. Mellow. I saw your little pink tongue. Tongue. Earthquakes begin to occur around the island, creating fissures in the ground, the last of which destroyed the brand new tilted towers building again, which was constructed following the destruction at the hands of the cube. Season 8 begins. A dense jungle appears in the northeast island along with the temple called Sunny Steps, and the volcano which likely unearthed Sunny Steps. It's likely Sunny Steps was an ancient civilization on the island, because when it comes, it's mostly in ruins anyway. The volcano is the stronghold of the prisoner or Fire King. The place which was originally a farm and then turned into a um, rich people's golf resort actually gets flooded as the volcano rises and becomes sort of a bay. Blackheart and his crew land on the island in this kind of bay to search for treasure and establish the pirate outpost known as Lazy Lagoon. Slowly moving throughout the island to create pirate camps. The pirate camps, remember, were these shanty-looking, stone tower-looking things with um, cannons on them. They're pretty fun to shoot yourself out of a cannon. In season 2, the brood are born from the eggs. These were the ninja creatures, and that would eventually, if you unlocked all their styles, become half humanoid dragons. The prisoner and they head out of the volcano, act as servants of the prisoner. At this point in this chapter, everything's like find wealth. Everybody's a treasure hunter in this chapter. We don't know exactly why. Chapter 3, a mysterious black helicopter belongs to move around the map. We believe this belongs to the IO. At the time, we term the government. Billy enters Banana Hood and conducts the ripening ritual. According to the, here we go. According to the, better work. According to the picture we have, Pili is actually a species of Pilis. The one that entered the ripening is the one we are more familiar with. So we're going to try and see if we can get in here. I guess I'll read some of this while we continue to wait. Hopefully don't miss a actual event or whatever. The government, which is likely part of the helicopter and actually IO, returns to the island. 2 ore comes up from the middle if they're there. Well, we're going to keep trying to matchmake until it works. Ugh. Okay, out. Can't do anything else. Come on. Too many people on, probably. I've been on here for 2 hours. Do you think they would notice that? But Fortnite's become like any other thing. They've come back to being a little more player friendly and bring us lots of shit. But, you know. Well, we'll keep trying. If I don't get it by 10:30, we'll call it. Sorry, guys. I have some kids that want to do things. Government returns island. 2 excavation sites occur, one near Fatal Fields and one near Dusty Divot. None of them reveal anything useful, but they're trying to dig and find something. The Master Key, which was a tiger who came from the new place over in the volcano area, the Sunny Steps, is attacked by 3 hybrids. He manages to escape. It is unclear if they're able to get a key. The prisoner raises a right hand named Ruin. He is basically a volcanic creature. Fortnite, you blow sometimes. Do that, and we're gonna go into Alien Overworlds and hit it. This is why we do lobbies, Fortnite, so people don't have to do this shit. Okay, guys, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to actually leave the game and then come back in the game and see what happens. This is going to turn y'all off. I'll be right back.